The finale of The Mandalorian Season 3 kicks off with Bo-Katan and the rest of the Mandalorians that escaped last episode running through Imperial corridors and escaping the cavern to reach the surface of Mandalore in an attempt to rally and retake their homeland. Bo contacts Axwoves and informs him of the fighters heading towards the command ship, and he heads up into the atmosphere to alert and evacuate the Mandalorians aboard the vessel, while also taking control of the ship on his own and directing it towards the surface to destroy Gideon's Imperial base. Meanwhile, in another corridor, we see Din Djarin being dragged to an interrogation room by two troopers. However, he manages to take them down and is eventually assisted by a late arriving Grogu and his IG-12 mech. The two of them proceed forward towards Moff Gideon's location after Din contacts R5 and asks him to infiltrate the Imperial facility and find out where Gideon is. R5 stealthily makes his way to a control terminal and uses his scomp link on the order of Din Djarin in periodic sequences to allow Din to make his way through a series of laser gates one at a time in order to manage taking down all of the guards protecting Gideon's command center. Something I will say is that there are quite a few action scenes where Din Djarin is taking down troopers, and I have to say they are done fairly well. Anyhow, once the Mandalorian reaches the final section, he is forced to wait a brief moment before R5 can open it, as he is dealing with a group of mouse droids, which, of course, is meant to be comedy relief. Regardless, R5 eventually disables the last laser shield, and Din takes down the final two troopers and continues on, inching ever closer to his target. In the final hallway leading to the command center, Din and Grogu discover tubes containing clones of Moff Gideon, but Din destroys them, unfortunately so, as Gideon later reveals that they were Force-sensitive clones of himself, designed to be an army at his command. I initially believed it to be pointless for them to show this if the clones are literally just destroyed then and there and have no future use, but there are two things that I want to bring up. First, even though the entire base is destroyed towards the end, perhaps one of the clones survived and will be used later on, but this is not likely as, once again, the base was destroyed, so it wouldn't really make much sense. But then again, this is Star Wars. The other thing is the more likely, and that this scene with the cloning vats was just simply meant to be foreshadowing of an eventual successful Force-sensitive clone in canon, which of course refers to Palpatine in The Rise of Skywalker. The scene transitions to the three Mandalorian survivors we saw last episode, leading Bo and the other Mandalorians to a safe place to wait for reinforcements. This safe place happens to be a portion of the caves with a lush and overgrown environment. Bo and the survivors discuss how life can still grow in Mandalore if it is given the space to, and this adds another layer to the whole Mandalore is actually safe to live on again thing. Nonetheless, they are interrupted when the armorer contacts Bo-Katan and informs her of their incoming reinforcements, and they begin flying back towards the Imperial base and engage in an aerial skirmish with Gideon's jet troopers. In the midst of that battle, elsewhere, Mando and Grogu finally reach the command center where they find an angry Moff Gideon waiting for them. After engaging in a battle, Gideon displays just how efficient his armor is and effortlessly tosses around the Mandalorian. Out from the shadows also comes the Praetorian Guards we had seen dispose of Paz Vizsla with ease. The guards begin systematically taking down Din Djarin, but once again to his rescue comes Grogu inside of IG-12, who won't let them harm who he sees as a father. The Praetorians box off Grogu and begin dismantling the IG unit, while Din attempts to come to his rescue, but he is prevented from doing so after Gideon fires a wrist rocket into his back. As the guards are about to kill Grogu, he force jumps onto a light fixture and somehow manages to dodge all of their strikes until Din can come and aid him. On that topic, Din is able to help Grogu after Bo-Katan lands in the command center and approaches Gideon with a darksaber in hand. Gideon pulls out a vibroglaive and the two engage in a duel where we initially see Bo-Katan bested and Gideon crush the darksaber in Bo's hands. Meanwhile, using the force to push around the guards, Grogu helps Din take out all three Praetorians, and, in my opinion, I just found this scene to be a little silly because the Praetorian Guards are supposed to be elite soldiers and Jedi killers, and we see them quite easily bested in this scene and flailing around for their weapons after being lightly pushed around by a baby. I know I'm making it sound a little more amusing than it actually was, but I was expecting more from the Praetorians. This kind of sums up how I feel about the episode and the entire season really as a whole. I really enjoyed a lot of it, but I was just expecting more. That's just me though. Anyhow, the command ship piloted by Axwoves, mentioned at the start, comes crashing through the Imperial base, and in the explosion we see the demise of Moff Gideon as he burns in the flames. Side note, if you liked Axwoves as a character, don't worry, he jumps out of the command ship and jets off to help the other Mandalorians. We see Bo-Katan, Din Djarin, and Grogu all completely protected as Grogu casts a force shield around them to deter the fire. The scene transitions to all of the Mandalorians, who fought hard to reclaim their world beneath the mines near the living Praetorian waters in a ceremony of sorts, inducting Ragnar Vizsla into apprenticeship within the covert. Din officially takes on Grogu as his apprentice, and Grogu is given the name Din Grogu, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but it is what it is. Regardless, it is pretty cool that Grogu is now the second ever Mandalorian Jedi. We also get a shot of the Mythosaur, which just seems to be chilling and isn't really a threat. The armorer passes a torch to bo-katan, who lights the fires of the Great Forge, and Mandalore seems to be finally reunited as one. A little weird we didn't get to see Sabine and her clan, as this seems like a monumental moment in Mandalorian history, and she isn't there. I was kind of expecting at least an end credit scene with Grand Admiral Thrawn maybe to display that there still is conflict in the galaxy, and even though they defeated Gideon, they'll soon have a larger threat in Thrawn. But I suppose they're saving all of that stuff for the Ahsoka series, which I'm really excited for. Anyhow, the episode ends with Din speaking to Carson Teva and offering him to independently work for the New Republic as a bounty hunter. He also asks for an IG unit head on display and uses this to rebuild IG-11, who he gives to Greef Karga as a marshal once he arrives on Navarro. This is a little strange because IG-11's body was in the Imperial base that blew up on Mandalore, but then again his body was blown up before by a thermal detonator and it seemed to be fine. Nonetheless, the episode comes to a close with the scene of Din Djarin and Grogu relaxing on their new plot of land on Navarro. Anyhow, I hope you all enjoyed. Have a great day. See ya.